Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. This is Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach. I think most people on this call know that we are absolutely dedicated to helping families make a confident mortgage decision when getting a mortgage. And the way we do that is in a way that helps them build wealth with real estate and helps agents sell more homes. And even when it comes to a first-time home buyer, make the decision faster, make the decision with more confidence. Very proud of the fact that the best loan officers in America are part of our community. Every time a list comes out saying, hey, who are the top 100, top 200, top 1%, always 34% of the best in the country use Mortgage Coach. So we're very proud of that. This is a group that cares deeply about helping families make a better decision and helping realtors sell more homes. So I think it's fitting to have an interview with Tina Beliveau. This is the second time I've interviewed Tina. I saw her at Sales Mastery in 2015. She was jaw-dropping awesome. So Tina, welcome to the community and really looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
So Tina, congrats on an awesome 2016. Looks like, is this right? I think 143 homes sold for around 40 million in production.
That's correct.
Well, congratulations to you and your team. That is like awesome. I know everybody on this call would love to have an agent like you as their top be the top lender. So hopefully they'll figure out some ways to be more valuable to you over the next hour here.
Great. I have a lot to share.
Right on. So to kick off the call, I want to remind everybody about last week's call with Rick Shear. Rick is one of the top loan officers in the country. Did 281 loans last year, 100 million in production. If you did not hear this call, I think it's a great setup for today's call. He really talked about one of his cornerstones to his success is doing mastermind events with agents, and he talked about how he does mastermind events with listing agents, how he does mastermind events with buyers agents. By the way, Tina, I'd be curious. Have you ever gone to a mastermind event that was, hosted by a lender in your market?
No, definitely not.
Would you like that? I mean, is that something that would be appealing to you?
Yeah. No, sorry. Part of my reaction is like, no, and people should be doing it. It's genius. And the cool thing, in my opinion, is, great lenders probably have a network of many different realtors, but if they're working with top agents and can bring them together, that's a huge value add.
Yeah, no, I think so too. We did a whole hour on it yesterday, and this guy is like 100 million a year in production, so he's a powerhouse lender, and he's got a lot of great relationships, and he's very thoughtful about who he brings together in the same room. So, no one is too competitive. They serve different markets, and he talked about how making sure that I have the right fit. So again, great call, great validation from Tina. This is a great strategy. You should be doing it. Tina, I think you'll love this too. So I asked him what his goal for 2017 is, and it wasn't loans, it was families. We want to help 400 families get a loan. And then he showed us this board that him and his team are going to kind of sketch out throughout the year. How do you like that?
It looks oddly similar to the one we have created, so I might need to show mine off too. I love it. Yeah,
why don't you have someone in your team shoot a picture, and let's try to, if you have a picture of it, be ready to show it. I would love to see how you're visualizing your goals and tracking them as a team. Sound good?
Yep, I actually can show it to you in a second if you're ready. Give me one moment here.
Yeah,
okay, I'm ready.
I'm not going to forward it to you yet, but I am. When we start going through slides, let's start off with that. Sound good?
Perfect. Yep, that works.
Cool. So also every mortgage coach on this, I thought Rick is doing a great job of how he's integrating the mortgage coach total cost analysis into his handbook. This is something that, he talks about at his masterminds. This is something it's a cornerstone to how he helps families make a better decision, how he helps families build wealth with real estate, and how he supports his agents. So if you didn't download this, check it out. It's a great start for anybody on this call that doesn't have something like this that just helps you tell the mortgage coach story to your agents and to your home buyers. So a couple of best practices, Tina, to set things up with you, and I think you remember our story and what we do. But every time someone gets into debt, whether it's a first-time home buyer, like this is a picture of a real life first-time home buyer in a Pete's coffee shop looking at her rent versus own analysis created by a mortgage coach. This is a picture of a top loan officer with a family coming into his office. About 30% of the families come into his office and they walk out with their mortgage advice on their mobile devices. This is a top mortgage coach in the Scottsdale market. So the theme at Mortgage Coach is every time a family is getting into mortgage debt, they want to understand their options and they want to understand which loans to pick to, build wealth with real estate, whether it's a coffee shop. So I think I got introduced to you by Bill Hart, so kind of a fitting setup. I know Bill is going to be interviewing you. For those of you on this call and you have not heard Bill Hart's interviews with agents, make sure you check it out. I put a link to these in chat, and so download those. Make sure you watch at least one of them, and Bill created them with the theme that they would be a value add that you would forward to other agents. So all the agents that he interviews have to close at least 60 loans, 60 transactions a year. So they're super successful, and these are like a gift of knowledge. So make sure you download it, check it out, and forward them to your agents, and Tina will be one of the interviews in the coming weeks. So Tina, any comments before we get into the big event and the main interview with you?
I'm ready to get cracking. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. So why don't you start with market that you're in. We already know your production. The theme of the call is social, how you're using Facebook to, create relationships and drive value. I know you've got some slides teed up, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about your practice, your team, and then walk us through some of the slides. I would tell you, everybody on the call, if you do have questions, feel free to submit those into the GoToWebinar control panel, and let's get cracking, as you put it, Tina.
So my name's Tina Beliveau. I am in Baltimore, Maryland. I am affiliated with Keller Williams Legacy. So just a little bit about me. I've been licensed since 2005, and I have experienced a few different iterations of my real estate practice, from solo agent to the agent plus admin model as my business grew. I am very, very, very referral heavy, and that's going to be the conversation that you're going to hear a lot about today as far as how I use Facebook. And about, coming up on 4 years ago, I was exposed to the Keller Williams system for team building, and it was an aha moment for me of what the next level of success would look like in my business. And I committed to creating a team using the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book as my model. And in a 2-year period, grew my sales volume from 15 million to 48 million, and from about 50 transactions to 167 transactions. That was our closed statistics in 2015. So 48 million, 167 units, with a relatively small team. My model is very service and quality oriented. It's relational, and that has really been the backbone of, basically the Keller Williams team building model and the relationship maintenance model. And I'll talk a little bit about both of those things as I go through here. And in 2016 was the next iteration of, I've been calling it Beliveau Group 3.0 for us, because about middle of last year, I was offered the opportunity to become a team leader or managing director of the Keller Williams franchise, where my team is housed. So about 6 months ago, I actually went through a transition of stepping out of sales production and strictly into management of my team and also leadership in my brokerage. And part of why I touch on that is that I've also had to mix up my Facebook strategy of how to continue to communicate the right messaging to continue to get referrals, maintain the reputation and validity that we have, and actually expand upon that. So I'll be speaking from like a couple different perspectives, and I would imagine that probably isn't the case for most of the realtors that the lenders listening to this might be working with, but for those that really want to grow into a bigger business and build passive wealth, there's a model for that too. And Facebook is a tool that it's actually my number one like PR tool to basically control the message of how I want people to perceive what my business is, what it's doing, who we're serving, why we're doing what we're doing. And one of my other big aha moments a few months ago was rereading the book Start With Why, and really getting clear on what I'm communicating through my social media platform and what words am I using to help our clients actually understand our vision. Because we have dug really, really deep into community service and involving our clients on that level. And I'll be going through a lot of that as well. So my Facebook evolution is continuing to get more and more focused and strategic, with still having like an emphasis on personal relationships. So hopefully that's not too much backstory, but I'm excited to dive in from there.
No, it's a great backstory. I won't steal any thunder from what you're going to share, so why don't you go through your slides? Let's make sure we have some time to, just go to your Facebook page and field questions. So rock it out, and also remember
Perfect.
to show us your how you're tracking goals.
Okay, great. So I'll touch on my 2016 stats. We actually took a step back in production last year with me no longer personally selling 100 homes myself. So there's a whole other sidebar of like the leadership journey and leading a sales team. The really cool thing is like my commitment now is helping other agents build their database within my database and do what I'm doing. So we're doing some really cool stuff. I'll touch on that just with the agents that are joining my team now that are newer to the industry. Of, we had an agent, she's been on our team for 2 weeks. She's already generated 16 referrals and has had 3 buyer consultations, and she's using Facebook. So I'll actually hop on her page at one point as well to touch on that. So that's where we are number-wise. And, I surveyed my Facebook followers a while back just to ask, like, why do you actually enjoy following me? And, people appreciate that my profile, and by the way, like everything I'm going to talk about today is about my personal Facebook profile. I think that Facebook advertising and the page side is amazing and people are killing it. It's not my sweet spot. So the cool thing about what I'm doing is I don't spend any money. I spent about $800 on Facebook ads last year when I just randomly promoted things, and I actually cut all that out of my budget, and I'm going completely organic. And what I'm finding with Facebook Live is that it's more effective and increasing my profit margins. And part of why I make that point with this slide that I'm on is why people follow me is because I'm not advertising. There's usually some creativity there. It's fun, outside the box, and the consistent voice that I just kind of developed naturally, and sort of like being in tune with the fact that like I have a personal brand that by extension is the Beliveau Group brand. And for the most part, those two meet together pretty well. They're somewhat one and the same, and yet really being clear that like I need to be consistent in my messaging, especially if I want to actually cause a result on the other end with my friends and followers. So if I'm random all over the place or like spamming them with, open house ads over and over, or things that really don't provide value, like people tune out. And what I find where people really want to tune into you is like they tune into a person more often than they're going to tune into a company. And in my experience, it's at least easier to start there and then build the company around that. So branding is a huge part of that, and just being forward thinking and basically like as classy as possible with the presence, and if anything else, like giving people something to aspire to, and using that in our imaging and our messaging so that we're actually drawing in more of the type of clients that we want and building more people that way. I actually recently went through a branding exercise of developing a profile of the ideal Beliveau Group client, where they live, how much their house is worth, what kind of house they wish they lived in, and their personality traits, what they do for a living, and basically built this person. And like the next level for our team is really like building our messaging around that, so we're communicating right into the listening of that target client. They're a move-up buyer. They have a house to sell. They're going to buy a more expensive house. And it's actually not complicated in my experience to do these things. It's just a matter of like setting aside the time to do it, and then all of the messaging on social media being through that filter. So it started with just me being the brand, and then like, you know, beyond that, we're growing into something with a little bit of a bigger vision. So on that note, branding, we slap our logo on everything that we possibly can. We've done everything from T-shirts, babies' onesies, jackets, to magnets, gifts. We recently were doing a charitable partnership with the Maryland SPCA and Animal Rescue. So we had bandanas made for pets. So we're actually in the middle of distributing pet bandanas to all of the pet owners in our database with a hashtag that is Pets of TBG. So one thing we're getting really purposeful on right now also is we rewrote our mission statement at the beginning of the year, and everything for us is just centered around the word community. So the hashtag that we're using more than anything else, besides our company hashtag, the Beliveau Group, is TBG community, and just driving the point home that like our big why behind everything we do is the community, and the community is the people, it's their pets. So we're finding ways to like intersect that message, but really like drill into the minds of our database and our followers that we have a very special community. We want them to aspire to be a part of it. We want them to feel excited to invite other people into it, and just using that word over and over again. It feels very repetitive for me, but I know that I need to say it 20 times for someone else out there to even notice. So again, that's kind of like the next level branding of what we're doing. The first level is just getting the logo.
Hey, Tina?
A lot of places. Yes.
Hey, Tina, let me ask a quick question just to kind of understand your community. And if you could, one, speak to how many families have you helped get into a home? And then when you think of your total community, how many people are like, you know, paying attention? You know, you're marketing them, whether it's through Facebook, any other channels. So if you could just speak to past customers and what you see as your greater community, if you could define that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So right now we're right around like 1,000 families that I've served through myself or the team over my 13 years in the industry. So if we look at like some different metrics, our database is about 2,500 people. It's actually not that large of a database relative to our production, because it's all people that we know for the most part, people that we've met and really engage in like relational marketing with. And then, you know, I tend to not go too far and wide. My Facebook friends list right now is hovering around 2,500, because I'm constantly removing people that I haven't really met, or there isn't really a relationship, or there isn't like a direct business benefit for me, because if my news feed just gets full of junk, it's a lot harder for me to engage with my target. So my Facebook presence isn't anywhere near the 5,000 person limit. But one thing that I'm, you know, big on is when people friend me, even if I don't accept the friend request, they become a follower. So last I checked, I'm not going to pull it up right now because it'll take us off the screen, but I was somewhere around like 400 to 500 followers. So those are kind of the people that I'm fine and want them to follow me, but I don't feel the need to engage back with them. It's kind of distinguishing those two different levels of relationship, because what I've discovered is when your community gets big enough, you know, I still need to focus on the core people that actually refer our team the most often or are the biggest advocates. You know, my general community beyond that is way bigger, and there's all the different pods of my communities, you know, my real estate community, my clients, my neighborhood, all the different places where I'm of service. So overall, that's actually a much larger number.
Got it. And then one last little question and continue with your briefing. Do you use it, you know how you can create views where you put people in particular categories so you can just look at just past customers? Or, you know, do you have groups where you're, you know, kind of identifying people within your feed so you can just look at them? Do you use that functionality?
Absolutely. And I bucket everyone the minute I friend them into where they belong. So we have like a general list that I call it clients, but it's pretty broad. It's anyone who is a client, or I would want them to be a client, and I would want them to either refer me or use our team in the future. And then inside of that, I have a micro group of our biggest advocates and the people that are actively referring us on a regular basis. So some content, so there's two ways that I use that. One is I can skim my news feed a little more in a more organized fashion, just looking at those buckets. And then the other thing is I can send messaging only to those people. Like just this morning, we're having a happy hour in April, and I, put a status update about, the details of the happy hour and only showed it to those people. And that way I'm not diluting, what everyone's seeing all the time or sending too much of the messages to the wrong target audience.
Got it. No, that makes sense. How many people do you have in that most inner circle? I just want to get a feeling for how many relationships are you managing, and let's just call it the raving fan group.
Yeah, the raving fans, it's about 150.
Okay. Well, I think that's helpful for people to realize that, because I think so many people, they spray so wide, and look at the production you're doing with a total database of 2,500, advocates of 150, and that's a lot of production, and it's a residual income machine at this point. It's just like a snowball rolling down the hill. So I think that's helpful. Anyway, keep it rolling. This is great. And again, I do want to encourage folks, if you have a question for Tina, submit those into the control panel. Also, within chat, I've put a few links in there as they come up. So keep it rocking, Tina.
Great. And I'll just say, like, if someone's looking for just simple, like, what can I do to get this started, I would pick out one promotional item, put your logo on it, and I recommend like a company hashtag for sure, and distribute it to your raving fans. And that's like an easy action item you could take out of this call and start doing what we've done, because that's all I did. It was just rolling things out over and over again and being consistent over 3.5 years now. So another thing I was interested in figuring out was, what do my friends and followers really want to see on Facebook? As I've already kind of said, I think, posting every listing you list is not always of interest, and just being cognizant of not spamming people. So when I asked what do people enjoy the most, the biggest answers were invitations and pictures of our events, because we do really fun parties, and that's a great branding opportunity to brand every photo, tag people after, and go viral in their networks and build your brand that way. So that's something we put a lot of emphasis on. And the cool thing is people like it. It's like that win-win of we're branding, but no one's turned off by it. So people do want to see postings of houses for sale and houses that we've sold. The houses for sale, I think, just being selective of, again, communicating what type of business you want more of. So being selective about what you put out there, because it will create more, and I've seen that over and over and over again. And then the homes that we've sold, like a conversation we have in Keller Williams all the time is about, we use the word validity and like communicating validity. And what I see is like every time I communicate the level of like the results we're getting, whether it's low days on market or a high list to sold price ratio, or look how many homes we sold this weekend, like it could definitely sound like bragging, but those are some of the highest engagement posts. I think for the most part, people really want to see people that they like win. And then there's this like human desire to be part of that. So what I found is by communicating our validity to an extent where a few years ago I probably wouldn't have been comfortable, it's kind of like a habit that I've built, it just snowballs on itself. And when I stop communicating our validity for whatever reason, if I get distracted or take my foot off the gas or I don't have a success story to share, our incoming inquiries go down. So I have made a commitment to post more about real estate than ever before and really lean in harder into Facebook. And again, like our inquiries picked up in the last 2 weeks, just with an increase in going Facebook Live. So pictures of people, like that's the biggest thing. I think, people love to see beautiful houses and they love to see happy people. So getting a picture at every settlement, or if you can even jump on it earlier, get the picture at the home inspection. Or even post a picture of the house and say, look what we just got under contract. You don't even have to give the personal details of the client, but like describe the family and the success you had. how good of a deal you negotiated, whatever the validity is there, so people can see that you're actually really, really good at your job. And unless you tell people, they won't know that. They really won't. They might just think you're nice. But when people see the validity, like, they're so much more comfortable making a referral. Guess the list price is a contest that we just keep on running. People love that game. And then personal stories. Again, I've touched on this a little bit already, but like success stories of, the difference that you made for your clients. And for us, it's like weaving in like the difference that we're making in the community. So those are the things that people are most interested in seeing.
Hey Tina, I would love it if there was just one that gets the most engagement. What category, and then maybe when we get off slides in a bit and we actually go to your Facebook page, but what is the one category that gets the most engagement, if there is one?
Okay, so I'll show later, but I pulled a couple of our top videos from the last year. The one that had the most views was this silly thing we did back at Christmas. My amazing administrator, Carly Getz, rewrote the night before Christmas into like a real estate story. And we filmed this goofy video of me like reading the story to the team by the fire. And that had more views than anything else I posted last year. So like what that says to me is it's people, it's fun, it's interesting. It was kind of a production to put together everything that we did, but people, they just want to see our team members. They want to see us having fun, and people are drawn into that. And there's a few other videos I'll show you later, but that was the #1 viewed video last year.
Okay, and then let's take it the other way. When it comes to taking engagement and turning it into deals, that may be, different content, but what is the content that you can most directly relate to, leads, calls, business?
It's sharing validity and success stories. So look at what we just sold, especially on the listing side, and emphasizing the numbers and where it is. And then people are like, I just see referral chains from those people. I will admit, like, this is one of the hardest things. It's when you implement a 33 touch or an ongoing relationship campaign like we do at the level we do, people are engaged with us on Facebook. They're also engaged with us offline. So it all works together in an ecosystem. But what I find is like our ongoing emails, direct mail, client parties, and all the like non-Facebook stuff is a constant. And I noticed the biggest differential in our business is how active I'm being on Facebook. So I call it like the supercharge. I don't actually believe it should be the foundation of your business. I believe the foundation should be a database, a decent CRM that you actually use, emails that go out, and a couple client parties a year. That's the first thing. And then Facebook takes those relationships to a whole new level.
Got it. So another question I have is, and again, when I look at your Facebook, you just come across so gifted. Everything's easy. You're so cool. You're so creative. Like, gosh, not everybody can be Tina. But I would like to know your creative process. Like, do you literally just, at a whim, literally write a post and it goes out within 5 minutes of you thinking about it? Or do you iterate? Do you, get different people's opinion? And there probably is like, hey, Dave, sometimes I just rip this thing out and it's simple, and sometimes it's a little more intentional, there's a little more process to it. But if you could speak to your creative process, what have things gone through? And again, I'm not asking about the video where it was a team project and, it had all types of milestones, but just your typical success stories. How much intention, how many different people touch those before they get posted?
I'm kind of smiling. Once in a while, it's like a caffeine-fueled fire of inspiration. But what I'm finding in my current situation, I'm essentially running two businesses. I'm running KW Legacy. I'm running the Beliveau Group. My time has never been more tight. And I have more appreciation now for a lot of people who have that conversation, like, I just don't have time for Facebook, or I just don't get to it. So I am moving to a more structured system. And the couple things I'm doing, we actually have a social media intern that started a week ago, young college student who's doing a great job. We're just getting her up and running, but having systems and leverage is usually the answer to everything for me. So using her, I have everyone on my team, I expect them to be a good, solid Facebook user. That's like critical in our business, especially on the administrative side, so that they can also create and fuel content that I can then just share. Then I am planning our videos, and I'm actually time blocking them and putting them in my calendar. Like I'll show a snippet of a luxury home. I did a live tour last Sunday, and that was in my calendar, planned out. Obviously, I knew I needed to get in there and all of that. And I actually just had a conversation with my team this morning. I've been wanting to do a Facebook Live about a certain topic that, I actually did a bunch of journaling about, and I've been wanting to share that with people and share my thoughts on what people should really expect out of a real estate agent, and that's going in my calendar as a time block. So I think in general, especially if it doesn't come naturally to you, or if you're just short on time, it has to be planned, or you have to have someone in your team helping push that forward or create a content calendar and just get it done. And especially if you just aren't apt to be creative or all over Facebook. But I need to be more intentional than ever and really look at the messaging to make sure we're drawing in the right clients.
Got it. So for everyone out there, it's not like this is easy and Tina is just this gifted person that comes up with an idea and within 5 minutes it's posted out there. This is this is a communication strategy, even though, you do have a gift and, the way you do life, the way you share your story on Facebook, it's special. But, and by the way, folks, I interviewed Tina a little over a year ago where she told her whole story from, I started using Facebook when I was in college. It was kind of like your millennial realtor story. It's a great kind of Tina 1.0 at Mortgage Coach, 1.2. But yeah. I would just tell everybody out there that, leverage your team. And I love that you're saying, hey, my team has to use Facebook. My team has to create content, and you're very intentional. So when you see what Tina is putting out there, know that she's time blocking, she's planning. There's a lot of intent. There's a lot of energy. And then there's a lot of standards of excellence, to make sure that she's not just putting out some, goofy, it's got a typo, and it's kind of tone deaf. That's not happening because she's putting so much energy into this. So anyways, I just think that's important to note. If anything else comes to mind, Tina, feel free. And then I don't want to steal thunder from what you're going to share, but I do want to make sure we get to the point with, when you meet with a client, are you Facebooking everybody, and how are you kind of bringing them into the world, new people into your Facebook community without being creepy? Although I don't think anything you could do could be creepy, but a lot of loan officers and a lot of realtors, they're awkward about it. They feel awkward. So if you could just tell us how you do things in a cool way when you meet new people and you bring them into your world, either now or if you've got that in your deck, at the right time.
Yeah, I'll touch on it now because it's not explicitly in here. I'm smiling. I feel like step one is to not be creepy on Facebook. So, if you're going to friend someone, your profile, I just think it should be personal. It should be real, and yet stay out of all the no-no topics, especially politics. Oh my God, I feel like the last year has almost ruined Facebook for me. I've done so much unfollowing to clean up my feed and just see what I want to see and be connected with people. But I think that's step one. And then step two is just if your presence on Facebook reflects who you are and people are doing business with you, I actually don't think it's creepy to friend them. And if there's even a moment of hesitation, just to say something and just be I'm big on Facebook. I love to stay in touch with people that way. Feel free to accept or decline my friend request, whatever is comfortable for you. I do have some clients, I friend people right away. I friend people when I meet them. I usually get out my phone and find them a lot of the time. And then sometimes I'll see clients accept after closing. It's they were waiting till the deal was over. And I don't take any of it personally. I feel like they either accept or they don't. And then our transaction coordinator actually sends our whole team a roundup of who we closed in the last month, on a monthly basis, so that we do a friend sweep on Facebook and LinkedIn to make sure that we're connecting with people. Because again, in the hustle and bustle of being busy, you might not think about it. So we have systems in place to make sure we don't even forget to connect. And then I friend them, I bucket them in the right place, and then they're in there. And that's it.
So takeaway for everyone, you know how some people, they're just like, they meet you, they smile, they hug quickly, they're warm. That's Tina. And by the way, that's Facebook. You know, you really don't need to overthink this as long as you're coming from a good place. And, you know, Tina, anything else you would just tell kind of like no-nos so that folks on the call, you know, get it? Obviously, I'm with you on the political post. You know, I haven't unfriended too many friends, but I've wanted to. But you know, that's obviously probably not going to serve you, especially if part of your goal is to get referrals and make money. And that's part of your strategy with Facebook. But any other, you know, just things that you see, mistakes made by lenders or just mistakes made by other peers? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I feel like you can kind of see one of two things, and you could actually talk to 10 people and get 10 totally different opinions. But my opinion is you don't want to be too heavy in one direction. Like some people, their profile is really stale and it's like just for business, and you never see a picture of their wife or their dog or their child or anything. And that doesn't really feel engaging for me. They'll stay in my friends list, but like if they're not posting pictures, I'm never going to see what's going on with them. So that's the one way. And then the other way, if it's like all personal or all focused just in one area of their life and there's never any diversity or anything that applies to me, I will normally click unfollow because there's just nothing to relate to. Or, you know, just other sales, people that do multi-level marketing along with real estate or whatever, just like anything where it doesn't pertain to me, I tune out really quickly because I'm always trying to make sure I am keeping in touch with people. And I'm probably, you know, more careful about unfollowing. Like I unfollow a lot so I can just make sure that who I am seeing is who I want to engage with. And as Facebook progresses, I think we should all assume people will continue to be using those tools more and more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That makes lots of sense. Again, folks, we are stacking up some questions. We're at 9:37, so we've got a little over 20 minutes. So I'll let you continue. And about the 5 to 10 minute mark, we'll try to lock it down and just answer everybody's questions. So keep it rocking.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to just go through these slides a little more quickly, but just to give people ideas. The settlement photos here, we love our big key. Everyone always asks, where did you get it? It's gone. It was randomly at Home Goods one day. That'll be like the #1 question after this. It happens every time. But find something, a cute custom sign writer, a poster that people hold, and I recommend that it's branded. Use your company hashtag and take great pictures. Get permission first. This is one of our biggest go-tos. And then on the right-hand side here, you'll see the Guess the List Price contest. This one had 78 guesses when I screenshotted it. And, you know, lenders can do this. It doesn't need to be, you know, it doesn't need to be your own listing. You know, ideally, you might want to get permission from the listing agent before marketing it. But in general, you know, if you're pulling photos from, you know, Zillow or wherever you want to pull content from, like, I think it's fine. It's a great way to engage. And again, think about like the house your clients aspire to live in and see pictures of. And that's tends to be more compelling and engaging than anything like less aspirational. And then on the coming soon side of it, for the realtors that are watching this, you know, people love that exclusivity and to feel like they're ahead of the curve, and that maybe even by being in your friends list, they're going to see things before it goes in the MLS or other places. So I think that's like a way you can use that tool really intentionally. So I'm going to jump back to community service later. I'm someone that's involved in a lot of things just because of who I am and my interests. And this amazing discovery has been that every time we tie anything to community, our clients care more. And one reason people cite hiring the Beliveau group to represent them is because of what we do in the community. So people really getting like who we are and that we're not just there to make money, and that we actually care about them and care about a lot of other things, and that we're literally not just like for profit. Like that's not in our mentality. So we'll come back to that in a couple minutes. Recruiting, if you know any lender or realtor wants to build a team one day, I think just thinking ahead to communicating your ideal team members and you know what you want them to see, the kind of people that you want to attract. For me, like it's now one and the same. Like I know that my ideal team members are going to be people that are extremely growth oriented. They are looking at themselves, and what they care about is like being the best version of themselves at work and outside of work. And as a corollary to that, there are people that are interested and actually actively already spending their time on something in the community. And they need to be on social media. And those are kind of like core criteria that have nothing to do with like their skill set or a lot of the other things we would look for before making a match for the team, but like being really clear on my culture and the people that I want to have around me and be pouring into them every day. When that alignment is there, it's like magical. And when it's not, the synergy as a team isn't there. So just keeping in mind that, you know, as I say, always be recruiting and always be thinking about the, you know, who would aspire to work with you, because that's where a lot of our team members have come from. And the referrals for great candidates for our team have come because people have watched what I and the Beliveau group are doing on Facebook. The other
Hey,
thing
real
we're
quick,
always...
Sure. Hey, before you jump off the recruiting piece, because I think, you know, obviously that's recruiting and adding team members, but, you know, every lender on this call, you know, they want to recruit realtors. Anything just come to mind as, you know, any lenders that you see doing it right? I know we're both friends with Dan Keller. I personally think Dan's doing it right as a lender, but are there any other lenders, whether they're in your market or other markets, that you just think are doing it right when it comes to recruiting agents and being attractive to real estate agents on Facebook?
You know, the only person I've observed is Dan. And what he does is so amazing. And, you know, he's doing exactly what I'm talking about when, you know, he's hosting happy hours and doing first-time home buyer seminars. It's always on Facebook. There's photos, there's videos. He's giving the message. He's talking about the value that he provides. He's infusing quality content back to the real estate community. You know, everyone should be following him. He's just killing it. And I tell him all the time, like, when are you going to expand to the East Coast? Because I would want to be in business with him in a heartbeat. So it's like, how can you have that impact on other realtors? It's just by communicating your value and showing them visually with pictures and video of what you actually do. It's the difference between, you know, telling someone about it and helping them experience and like visually see what that value would be.
Yeah, no doubt. So folks, a couple mortgage coach leaders that come to mind are Denise Donahue, Dan Keller, Rick Shear. And I would love it, you know, if folks on this call, if, you know, there is a lender out there that you think is doing Facebook right, as Tina said, killing it, you know, post that, share that with me. I would love to share that. And then after this call, I can see the number of questions that are coming in. We're going to get to some of those right now. And some of them are just super linear questions that if you post them in comments on my Facebook page, you know, I do a lot of business, and I always show a little family. And by the way, you know, the only reason why I don't show more family is because I have to approve my family shots with my teenage kids, you know, and they're like, you know, and it's like, you know, they're like, Dad, you like, they don't like the way I do Facebook because I'm Mr. Business Guy, and so they're like, you know, they don't want to be put into the Shark Tank very often, so I have to, you know, between my wife and kids, it's like, you know, every month or two I get to like share some moment. But if you know someone out there who's killing it, let us know. And then, like I said, on my Facebook page, which is mostly Mortgage Coach, in comments of the post that I did promoting this call with Tina, if you have questions there, I'll make sure they get answered, you know, whether it's Tina that answers them or I do. So be ready to post some questions in there. Anyways, keep it rolling, Tina, and hopefully we can share a few more lenders that are killing it in Facebook.
I'm kind of laughing because my husband just submitted like a year ago, whatever I say needs to go on Facebook. He's like, okay. He gets that it's the engine of the Beliveau group. So just enrolling the family in that. So
yeah, right.
Anyway,
right.
A couple things I'll touch on, like these next couple slides, everyone might have their own special stuff they're doing. My biggest point to drive home is whatever you're doing that's great, just make sure you're getting it on Facebook and being your own publicist. So if you're delivering moving boxes or just giving a great gift at closing or, you know, writing a nice card, just publicize it. So, you know, I was lucky to go on the news a while back and made sure, obviously, like those clips went up and all that content, just getting it on every platform and repeating it throughout the platforms and leveraging it. This slide here is my validity post and just sharing success stories and numbers when team members get licensed, when our team members are killing it, like looking at Kim Lally Holmes' numbers. This is an old screenshot. You know, it's like, again, like looking at her trajectory, if you see in 2014 before the Beliveau group, she sold 13 homes. 2015, she sold 45. 2016, she sold 85. So 20 million in closed volume. So, you know, again, like it's recruiting and other agents seeing, holy crap, like how is your buyer agent selling 85 houses? They reach out to me. You know, I don't need to necessarily be cold calling other realtors to build my team. And then the numbers, you know, we have all different kinds of graphics we use and just making sure that it's in people's faces over and over again. And then, again, visual success stories, showing pictures of the nicest homes we've listed that really communicate, you know, the neighborhoods that we want to be in and the messaging that we want to have around that, tagging the clients so that it shows up in their friends' feeds and things like that. So, and I touched, I think, at this point on the best practices for personal profile. I'm more of a believer in a very healthy mix of business and personal, sharing your real life, and again, people really wanting to engage with a real person. You can see my opinions about not having a stream of real estate spam. And as we've touched on, you know, it's certainly like a reflection of my personality, but I'm positive, I'm pretty neutral, and I do avoid the polarizing topics. So one, like, just to do, I would give anyone here is you can pull up all of your clients or all of your Facebook friends' upcoming birthdays on like the right-hand side menu. You can actually download all of your Facebook birthdays into a calendar and then have an admin do birthday management, whether that's getting the birthdays in your CRM or having cards go out. But that's one way we leverage Facebook, and taking Facebook offline and acknowledging with handwritten, you know, personal notes when they do get engaged, when they do get married, if a pet or a family member passes away, or really anything that, especially if it's in my top 150, you know, we're delivering flowers, we're sending a gift, we're sending them a note, and making sure they know that we care and that we're paying attention. That said, I want to jump to some of my more recent excitement. So this is the Beliveau Group 150 homes. So our goal in 2017 is 150 closed units. The really exciting thing for me is that's without my involvement on the sales side. So we're actually at 23 year to date. But the thing I'll point out here at the bottom is just getting our, you know, our mission out of, you know, we're here to make a difference in the community on everything. This is just like an internal team poster, but really like our word is community. So I would challenge anyone listening to this to pick out what your word is and then just use it over and over again. We actually have a team mastermind. So one of the places our team connects is our group it's a secret group in Facebook, and it's basically like our virtual water cooler. You know, our salespeople are out and about. I've got a lot of other responsibilities right now, but it's the place where our team meets and stays connected. So super valuable tool for us. So I'll show you, this is the video that had 1,600 views right before Christmas. So that was just an example of like when we go fun and personal, people get really engaged. And so the biggest thing that happened in the last year is that, you know, I had a dream of doing something a lot bigger on like a service level beyond sort of ad hoc, you know, putting a team together for a 5K or, you know, little like smaller scale projects, and something long term. So what was intended to be a like ongoing donation to our local SPCA, I actually ended up purchasing a van for the SPCA so that they could transport twice as many animals as they're currently able to, and do a whole bunch of like really amazing things. So we basically have embarked on this amazing partnership, and this video is when we did the announcement about the van. So it was, you know, it was a surprise announcement, and we pumped it up and promoted for weeks coming up to it through Facebook and client newsletters, and having everyone be, you know, wondering what, you know, what was to come. And as you'll see, that had 2,500 views, a ton of engagement, and I love this picture of someone's dog, this video of someone's dog watching it. But just really engaging with our clients who care about animals, care about the community, and, you know, we're not doing it for publicity. And at the same time, it's been, you know, the best thing I feel like we've ever done. So we, you know, use Facebook to communicate what we're doing, and then we had a huge party to unveil the van a couple weeks later. Here's me giving the keys away. This is around 300 likes. And the cumulative likes for all the different SPCA posts were off the charts. There were a whole bunch that happened in the span of a couple days. So if you added them up, it was probably like 10,000. So this is something that, you know, it doesn't need to be this intense of a level for, you know, a financial commitment or even time commitment, but figuring out like where your heart is and then letting people know. Again, I think there's just like such a great connection there. So the other thing is, as I mentioned, getting more intentional about time blocking and making sure that I'm actually doing the videos, because they don't just happen on their own, as I'm sure anyone listening can understand that if you've thought about content, but it's not happening to you. And again, going towards the people that we, the houses that our target demographic aspires to live in. So this is like a luxury house tour that I did about a week and a half ago. We had about 1,000 views, and it was actually a test run, because what I'm seeing, the people that are most successful with Facebook Live, they schedule it and they warn people when it's coming and build awareness around it. So this one, I just went for it, and I learned a lot doing a live video. By the way, there's a lot I would change having done it once, and we're going to keep doing those in the future and giving people a heads up and giving them a time and say, you know, tune in Friday at noon, you know, tune in on your lunch break. I'm going to be talking about, you know, what you should expect when you hire a buyer's agent, and here are the 10 questions you should be asking, and here's why I think that's important, and here's what I've learned, and like really going deep with that value. And again, that's more planned, unless you're a really great like off the cuff speaker, but that hasn't really ever been my forte. So this is also, we just did a call to action. This had almost 1,000 views as well. You know, it wasn't anything that I promoted ahead of time, but I was with the team. It was a sunny day, and I said, you know what, like, let's go outside and tell people why they need to list their home before April 1st. And we did have a message behind it. It involved my other team members. We planned who was going to say what, and then we just shot live. And as I always say, just rip that Facebook Live Band-Aid off. The only way to get used to it is doing it a few times. And we're leaning into it. We're getting great feedback. And as we did these couple videos in the last few weeks, big uptick in incoming referrals. So I think I'll stop there. We've only got a couple minutes. So should we go to questions?
Yeah, let's go to it. So I mean, we got more questions that we're going to answer. Some of them are like, folks, we recorded this and you can re-listen to it. Like the question about, hey, is this business or personal? This is our personal page that I really recommend. If you don't get your question answered, there's a good chance you could just re-listen to this call. It will be in our YouTube channel. So I think a lot of the questions are all around this theme is like, what should lenders be doing? And, you know, you gave us the Dan Keller example. I put a few other lender examples in chat. So I've given you guys 3 examples. And if anybody else has someone they want to share, bring it. But any other advice you have to lenders who want to deliver value to agents? I mean, I personally think just forwarding this video to agents would probably be the best way. You could help agents and say, hey, I'm part of the mortgage coach community. They interviewed Tina Beliveau. You know, I think, Tina, you're if not the best, one of the best agents in the country at leveraging Facebook, and just sharing this video as a gift would be valuable. But what other things would you like to see lenders do that have to do with Facebook that would serve you as an agent? Anything else come to mind aside from just sharing this video?
So, I mean, what comes to mind more than anything is being making clear that you're willing to be a real estate agent's leverage. Whether that means like, I'm going to go or send someone out and have them film the testimonial with the borrower that we just worked with together. So actually make their job easier, create the content, or at least provide ideas and provide value. I think there's nothing more frustrating for me as like a busy business owner for a lender or really any vendor to want my ear and then be like, what can I do for you? And I'm like, I don't know, like I could give you a list of 15 different things that you could do, but like, what do you know how to do? What are you effective at doing? And even being in that conversation can feel a little bit like a waste of time, not to be too harsh. So I think it is knowing what value can you add and offering that. And whether that's saying, you know what, like I can partner with you on a happy hour and here's how I'm going to promote it on social media. And you know what, maybe I will do ads to have people we don't know there if that's a strategy you want to employ. Creating content ideas. I do think just sharing this audio is, gold, because I'm seeing a lot of people in my market watch what I'm doing and replicate it, but the reality is that's like only a small number of people that just aren't taking the consistent action. So being support and saying, you know what, here's a content calendar, here are the 5 posts I think you should be rotating through on a, every other week basis, and make their job easier. And, if you're at an event with them, offer to shoot it Facebook Live and to get pictures and follow up and post the pictures later, or provide the pictures to them so they can put it on there. They can be the one to upload it and thank you, or make sure you get the picture at settlement and create the rider for them. Just make their job easier. It's so great when people do that.
Yeah, no, I love it. So let's debrief on a few things. So first, I would also recommend, if you haven't heard the first interview I did with Tina, December of last year, great, Tina Beliveau 101 on Facebook, and I had Dan Keller. So I had an actual loan officer helping me interview. It was an awesome interview. I urge that you take a minute and check out Tina online. Type in her name. Type in your name. What's the difference? She's killing it. You could probably improve. So, look at where she shows up in search, how she's showing up as a social profile. Do some research. You can learn a lot just by Google and paying attention and saying, hey, I could do better than what I'm doing. And you know what? I can help the agents that I serve do better. So, spend some time. Don't just say, kind of do a drive-by on this call with Tina and say, okay, checked it off the box. No, spend some time. Go check out her website. Check out her Facebook page. Spend another hour getting better from today's call. That would be one of my suggestions. Everybody, you're a mortgage coach. So, I am committed to helping you make a difference when you serve a family, making sure they understand their options, making sure a first-time home buyer doesn't burn through 3 realtors and drive everybody crazy, including themselves, by just understanding the financial benefits of homeownership. Or in today's market, Tina was making a case for, hey, why list your home before April? Why don't you as a lender say, what's the benefit of buying now? Program 1 is buying now, and what do you think values are going to do? Oh, you think they're going to go up 3%, 5%? Oh, what do you think rates are going to do? Oh, they're going to go up 0.5%. Why don't you net it out for families, showing them why should they move up now or should they wait? That would be cool. But be a value creator. Hopefully everybody on this call, you have Mortgage Coach. I do want to remind everybody, we are rolling out My Nest. Again, it is shopping for a home, not searching for a home. And it's a simple app so that when families are taking pictures as they go from house to house, we're helping you organize those pictures. We're helping you take the picture of the front doorstep. Then as you walk around, think of it as like Pinterest for home buyers. Oh, I'm in the living room. Let's take a picture of the living room. Using your phone as the tool that it can be. Camera, video, you can even add audio. So, we're dedicated to helping you be better as a mortgage professional. Make sure you download My Nest. If you're on this call and you're not with an organization that we've rolled out with, and you want to learn more about My Nest, email mynest@mortgagecoach.com. So that is a product that we created specifically for home buyers and the agents that are served by mortgage coaches. So, hey, Tina, you've been awesome. I mean, you've just been so transparent. You've shared so much. Any last words of wisdom as we wrap up today's call? Anything you could think of?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I feel like I could go on a diatribe about a lot of this. Like, I just love this stuff. So thank you for giving me the forum to share. I'll just put in 2 very direct plugs. Number 1, we do have an opportunity at the Beliveau group for a great agent who is looking to fill my shoes. and someone who, is ready to take their career to the next level. If, any of your listeners know someone or you are that person, like raise your hand, let me know, reach out to me. And, in my role at Keller Williams, I'm helping a lot of agents outside my team do the same thing. I'm coaching people on their social media. I'm helping them grow their businesses, create business plans, knock out whatever's in their way to help them move forward and exponentially grow. So, if you're in the industry or know realtors that want the type of help that I have to provide and want to take advantage of my experience and expertise, I'm available. So Facebook is a great way to reach out to me, and email is great. Tina Bell, TINABEL, @kw.com is the shortest email for me. And I welcome any follow-up questions or requests for more information.
Love it. So I am going to post a poll question as you leave. Let us know what you thought of today's. Did we surpass your expectations with value? It was good. You got a couple takeaways. If you are a guest on this call and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, check the last option. I'd like to get a demo and learn more. So please let us know what you thought of today's call. Don't miss next Tuesday. I'm going to be interviewing Josh Metal, one of the top team leaders in the country. I think they closed 500 transactions last year. He's got a strong focus around helping doctors. So he's built his practice and his niche around doctors. But the whole call is going to be how one of the top lenders in the country is preparing for the spring home buying season. So it's just like, hey, you're a lender, you want to crush it. How are you preparing for spring home buying season? And literally, Josh wouldn't even have been on the call except for this week. He's like, Dave, this is the last Tuesday. I booked this call in January, and he was like, from this week on, I'm head down, killing it. So check out that call. Also, I recorded a quick script call with Josh last week. So just 8 minutes of me asking Josh a couple questions and him providing scripts on how to crush it. That is posted on our YouTube channel. So if you want to get 8 minutes of Josh's scripts, check it out and don't miss next Tuesday's call. So, hey, Tina, super grateful for the value you brought here today. Can't wait to keep following you and can't wait to have you back in the community one of these days.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody. Have an awesome day, awesome week.